Hello folks, PUBG.com here, bringing you some modern action. Again, this time around it's blue-green Infect on the left side of your screen, and to the right that's my default modern deck, Abzan company. Basically this match turned out to be very silly, some really dumb misplays from both sides. I have played this matchup a huge number of times, but that's the first time I actually get to record it properly. By properly I mean the best method at the moment. I've played against the Infect with in Sultai colors and also blue-green a lot, and I faced it a lot during the local store events and so on. Infect fell out of favor recently because of Eldrazi's, but chalices actually are now not to be commonly seen in the main deck, so perhaps it's okay-ish to play Infect again. Sorry for the blanks, but because it was a multi-person conference, more than two, I mean, there was little I could have done, and it was a friendly chat evening, etc. So it was super impolite for me to drop out anybody and so on, so I made a compromise. Life totals wouldn't really matter so much in this matchup because it's either me comboing off or him comboing off, sort of. So the fact that we didn't pull out a life total like app on the phone is not gonna be very crucial in this matchup, I guarantee you. So yeah, sorry for this spoiler, but it is what it is. I had to crop really a lot here because of the size of the window, so pardon the resolutions, but I'll try to do my best at explaining everything that could have possibly gone through our heads during this match and everything that's gonna go on the battlefields. So let's get slowly started in here. It's a matchup where you really don't need to rush, you really need to wait your decisions, because sometimes the game will be decided in the first few turns. Infect is generally favorable for Abzan company because of main deck Meliras, but it could go either way, particularly if I draw a slow hand and he would have something like Vine's Vessel to protect his guy in the face of, say, Thin Hunter or Path to Exile, and then let's say I would have a bunch of blockers, but let's say would happen to be all green, and then he would draw like an Apostle's Blessing and just get through, or it's Nexus or Stalker time that I can't really block most of the time. Interesting choice. It's a polluted Delta, and a Gitaxian probe. Well, probe is fine, but interesting choice of fetch as well. Instead blue-green, I guess it's fine, though I imagine you would want to have just 8 green fetches. So Rainforest for sure, and then 4 random green fetches, probably. Like Foothills, Heaths, whatever. He's gonna go to at least a 17 here because of Fetchlands plus the probe, and possibly 15 because of the he wants a green source in turn 1, a breeding pool for Glycerin Elf. Show him the Razor Wedge Fake at a green fetch, couple Corsi Calling, Bird Path and the company. Pretty decent hand with a Mana Dork turn 1 and plus a removal for his next thing, which he will have to protect. If I was him, I would maybe blob the fetch before the probe, just to decrease the chance of drawing a land from the probe, and probably even take extra damage from Shockland from the breeding pool, even if you don't draw any 1-drop. But there is a pretty high chance of drawing a 1-drop off the probe, like a Crystal Elf or Noble Hero, so he's not playing optimally here, that's for sure. So I hope I'd be able to bring an extra value to you guys by explaining how he probably should have played. Me being on the draw does definitely hurt, but it's not a huge deal. Okay, so he does actually get a turn 1 Noble. It's because everything takes so long. I got confused and thought that was already turn 2 for him, but no, he went down to 15 and turn 1 Noble, yeah. His life total doesn't matter a whole lot, because if he cannot really push through in the first few turns, then there's I mean, it is pretty hard for him to win, especially against this deck. So turn 1 birds from me, no reason to path his Noble here, of course, especially since I'm not an Infect creature. Casts the agent here, that's the 1/1 Infect, unblockable dude, and then for some strange reason decides to attack with the Noble, which is super odd. Perhaps he just didn't have anything great in his hand, maybe like no protection spell whatsoever, just pump spells, so and maybe he just has another one of those in his hand, so he doesn't actually mind me pathing his guy. I'm definitely gonna use the opportunity here while he's tapped out to path to exile his guy, but this is very suspicious. He knows about the path, but there is no rush for him here, even at 15, to actually get this guy out there. Plus he knows about the path in my hand from the probe, so this is a very hasty play. To be fair, it was very late in the evening, so that could be a factor. Some brain farts like this do happen from time to time, and I feel like it was a brain fart. So path to exile happens, and then with remain 2 I cast a Well of Roots. Decent creature in this matchup. Probably if I have space I should keep it post sideboard, because let's say he has Glycerin Elf, and then the wall basically stops that creature unless he has like 2 pumps or something like that. Well, 1 pump could sometimes do it. And this matchup is a lot about tempo and speed. Pretty much same 2 words, but I don't know, I feel like sometimes they mean slightly different things. He needs another Infect creature here. ACP, no Nexus even among his lands. The problem here is that his build doesn't play as many protection spells as he should. He does play Spellskite as a sort of protection spell, but I don't know, man. The problem is that he has a lack of removal. He does have a Vapor Snack over usual stuff like Dismember, for example. Yet, in this matchup, he would much rather prefer to have a Dismember, I feel like. Spellskite is not gonna be amazing. It cannot stop something like a Melira from my deck to actually, negate a lot of his efforts. So I have a third land. I can court for 2 or for 3 here off the wall. For 2 is probably enough. Just get a Melira here. I do expect something like a Dismember or something. Also, it's a funny thing to notice is that one of my friends who often plays Infect at our store once actually put 1 copy of Twisted Image into main deck. And it's okay, at the very worst it cantrips, so you get to cycle, which is not like absolutely terrible. But Twisted Image is so insane against me. Kill birds, kill walls, kill Spellskites, because that's the main target. Kills nobles. He has a Glycerin Elf, but of course I didn't want to cast Cord there. He may have a Spell Pierce here, which is not something that I wouldn't expect at all, although Spell Pierce is kind of bad right now in the metagame. Still, while I wasn't exactly sure what kind of build he ran, so didn't want to discount that possibility. He has to attack with the Glistener Elf. He knows about double chords in my hand, so I'm not sure what he's thinking about here. He actually played against my deck a few times before this. But Abzan Company's a deck which you really become familiar to play against. No, remember what it actually does only once you've played a really good number of games against it, because a lot of its cards are so niche and have this unique effect, and a lot of text on them sometimes as well too, and do some really funky things. So it's basically he shouldn't be attacking here with this elf, that's for sure. He should have been attacking with the Nexus, because Melira is something that he should be expecting here. Okay, I cast a Cord for 2, no Spell Pierce or anything like that. Basically attacking with the Nexus kind of bails out the Cord here for 2 for Melira. But it's just one of the 3 pieces needed for the combo, so that means I'm not necessarily getting there that quickly, even though I have a second one in hand, so that means I'm 1 combo piece away. But sometimes, like, you can get really unlucky and just never get it, just draw a bunch of lands and mana dorks. and flip more mana dorks from company. Right, Corda calling in response to the attack, so before blockers, before anything major here. Sorry for the blurriness. But you see the images more or less, and you can recognize the cards, so there is that. Okay, critical results. It's expected that I get a Melara Sylvic outcast here, but then I do actually make a punt here because there's another friends during the same Skype conference at the same time with us, actually observing all this madness. And the thing that we kept on repeating among all three of us was that the new -1/1 counters. But because of this shoutouts, I actually forgot the other line of text in Melara, which is like they lose Infect. And while in case of Nexus, nothing really happens, but in case of actual Infect creatures, they just do normal combat damage. And because of all this chaos, I actually not only considered, but in fact blocked the elf with Melara here, which would have meant that even without a pump spell, thanks to the Exalted trigger from the Noble, they would just trade and I would lose this huge trump in the matchup, which is Melara. Even though for most players who play either of these decks, whether it's Infect or Abzan company, it's not huge news, but for people who don't really play against either of those decks that often or don't really play them, this could be actually very important note to remember. And there was some chat, there was some verbal communication. Basically, because he doesn't have removals really or counterspells main deck outside of maybe like a Vapor Snag or something, so he figured that like, yeah, he just cannot do really anything in this game. This really shows up the importance of having things like Dismember in your main deck. Maybe counter spells are Spell Pierce are not amazing right now, but Dismember is so huge, and taking 4 off of it is often like not a huge downside because you just either get there or you don't. Okay, I'm considering a Scavenging Ooze here, post-Cybert. One of Fulminator Mage is definitely coming in for the Naxai. That's for sure. Prime Mage coming in for Naxai and his spell skites. And this build, I think... Oh no, I'm actually taking out the Scavenging Ooze here. Sorry for that. So, on my part of the screen, on the left side is the cards I'm bringing in, and to the right are the cards that I'm taking out. Because I wanted the second Fiend Hunter, I had to cut a couple of voices out of my main deck and put them back into the sideboard. Hence, I decided that if I have only one flexible slot left for some value creature, then it should be rather be Scavenging Ooze, which helps against Kozilek's returns and stuff like that. And it's still just a fine beat down creature. he is taking Clan Defiance, or well, not Clan Defiance, the free money enchantment that pumps his guy when he targets it. Taking out one Groundswell. It seems like he's taking out a Spell's Kite, which I don't think should be something he should do. Protects his guys from DK's passing, etc. And also blocks some of my creatures. Pontiff is great in this matchup. Kills Glycerinalis, Nobles, the 1/1 unblockable guys. Saint Collector is fine here, but maybe a little bit too slow, a bit too clunky. I won't blame people for boarding it in. Hornet Nest is something I've considered that maybe I could do something like block Elf and get 1/1 flying death touches. Could be interesting. On the other hand, it only blocks the Elf, which I can block with a lot of other things and not really have huge regrets. He's thinking to take out the spell that gives his guy unblockable and +1 attack, and also it rebounds. I think it's a very bad idea. It's a way for him to win. I would rather take like a mutagenic growth over that thing. That's for sure. So Sin Collectors are an option, but not an amazing one. Okay, he takes out a Gitaxian Probe, so we're still in the middle, like deciding what is the best configuration, what's the best sideboard plan. I think he should actually take out more probes, because while he could really use this information with my hands to know whether I have Decay or Path, but I think he mostly needs stuff like to protect his creatures or to disrupt me. He just needs like more dismembers, more ways to protect his guys, and etc. It's really tough to figure out what to actually cut off here. Infinite life doesn't really matter here. Of course, having Malaria in play is great for sure. So there is an argument for actually taking out at least one Kitchen Fangs, because you still have the red cap in the deck, which is actually great because it doubles up as a removal. So he's thinking about Nature's Claims here. I don't really fancy that. Okay, you see me cutting on the Sin Collectors and thinking again whether I should bring him in or not. I think I ended up not bringing them in. I think I shouldn't have brought in the Hornet Nest either. If it would have reached, then it would be amazing. But then again, it would be a very broken card, which I think wouldn't have the right to even exist. Okay, great. I actually end up not bringing it in as well. You don't see me laying down paths here because I have two main deck. Witness is kinda slow here. It's fine to have one sometimes to get back like a path for DK, but it's a little bit too slow. Quarter Calling is kinda slow as well, though I'm not certain about this part. Maybe I still need it despite it being very slow. But keeping 3 is fine. If I would just have 3 in my 75, then I'd probably just keep 3. Taking out 1 on the fancy here because Malaria is so much more important. And because I bring in a lot of removal and hate for what he's trying to accomplish here, think it's fine to take out that card. I have Archangel of Finn plus Pike Feeder, but those two are in the sideboard right now. Definitely want to keep at least one wall, but maybe two is maybe too much. I like really the mana boost and ability to maybe sometimes block the Glycerin Elf, but drawing more than one is really terrible. And the fact that the cards I bring in cost just 2 or 3 mana makes it quite easy. Basically, if you can establish a Melira plus Spellskite on board, then you should be more or less safe. Although something like Twisted Image into Dismember can still happen. It can still happen. He's trolling me with his Wicked Gamekeeper here. Oh yeah, now I remember what's that, I think. Yeah, that's the stupid 6th edition 4 mana 4/4, which says your black spells cost 1 more, one black to play, to cast. Things have evolved a lot since those times. That's for sure. That's a lot of preps after game 1, which wasn't really that long, but I hope you enjoyed these sideboard considerations. I think a lot of the time for established players it's the most valuable information. But of course, if you play Infect yourself or Abzan Company yourself, you know most of these things already. But if you don't, then there's a huge chance that you never heard about all these considerations. We draw our hands. He's thinking about it. I think he's gonna mulligan here. Nope. Or what is it? I guess he was just crying and put it to the bottom line. I'm a bit confused here. That's one of the downsides of having this kind of setup. Okay, he goes for a walk here. So I'm gonna... Oh no, actually... Okay. Sorry for this confusion. Pendle Haven, which is a great card, but not always. Anyways, turn 1 Noble is great news for him. Almost the ideal start. I actually like it way more than starts that involve a turn 1 Glistener Elf. Especially in a matchup where I have such cheap answers to his strategy. Bit of unusual draw for me. Turn 1 just basic swamp into Viscera Seer. Breeding Pool comes out on his side. I think it's gonna be coming up untapped. Okay, turn to Agent here. This unblockable Infect guy, 1/1, so he can pump it with Pendle Haven. Next turn before Exalted trigger, so he can smash it for 3 damage potentially here if I don't have any answer here, but I do. Very unfortunate for him, so this looks pretty bad for Infect. So turn 2 Melira off of Fraser Verge Thicket in the swamp. If he would have had something like a Dismember here, it would be a really sick basically, if this Milara would have gone away somehow, then in turn I would be then in a very bad spot. He's actually attacking with both here. Okay, this is really tricky, really weird. So his plan here involves pumping something that would get blocked. Imagine like I would like block a noble, but I would never do that. I'm still at healthy 20 life here because I didn't take any damage from the lands. Okay, he can pump his agents with the Pendelhaven, etc. I think that was probably a misplay here. Really a misplay. Attacking with both, you give yourself one less mana. Okay, he's trying to kill with the normal damage, but attacking with both is just so stupid because I can block noble, but I can't block agent. So this is a lesson for you guys how not to play Infect. So I didn't block the noble. So that's, I believe, what was it? I think just one damage of the agent, because what he did was double groundswell plus mutagenic growth on the noble. So I'm actually at pretty low life here, pretty low life, something like 10 or even less now because of the fetchland. This is super weird. Should have just attacked with the agent. I can't block it, then he has a lot of mana to do a bunch of different things. Because of the Exalted plus the Pendelhaven, his guy would be free attack, free power before all the pumps, and then a bunch of pumps. And now he just walked into my trap, like Orge of Pontiff, killing both these guys. He spent all the pumps, it seems, and all the green mana trying to get that attack through and like hoping to finish up the game quickly. Okay, I'm at very low life point, but I have a Seer plus Pontiff in play, and then Milara. So basically, if I draw Kitchen thinks he can't really even kill me with normal damage, and Pontiff secures the board against any Infect guys, unless there's an Axis in there, or Elf or agent plus a pump spell or protection spell. No, protection spell doesn't work because it doesn't target, it's like everybody. Okay, don't go into attacks, suggest a corridor calling. I think he had some spell pierce in the sideboard, but I suppose decided not to bring it in, or simply didn't draw it. Okay, decided to, instead of going for Kitchen Finks, to go for Meritorious Ratcap just to kill him straight ahead. So yeah guys, don't get greedy. In fact, it's really a deck that encourages patience and being careful and very mathematically profound. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this and learned a thing or two. I'll see you next time in next videos. Goodbye.